Welcome to Aether React tutorial on how to create meeting minutes. Now, this tutorial has the presumed knowledge covered in tutorial number 1 in the meeting series. So here we are inside our meeting. You can see our meeting details. So here is the title of the meeting. We can see who our chair is that will run the meeting. Administrator generally takes the notes. The location is online. The date will be the 2nd of August at 9 AM. The time zone, which was also reflected in the location, is in London. Now, we've already set our attendees, and we will cover that in more detail in further tutorials. Now we'd like to look at how we actually create content of the meeting. So you can imagine we're now in the meeting, or you've written some notes in the meeting, and now you'd like to type them up. So we'd actually like to create the minutes. Now, we earlier discussed that you could have agendas, and you can have as many agendas as you want. So you can see, just click agenda. So we can give it just any old title. We'll just call it agenda 2 for argument's sake, agenda 3. And here we are, agenda 4, agenda 1, which I actually gave topics to. Find suppliers creating commercial contracts. Now, if you come here and go print preview, you can see the agenda. You'll see agenda written at the top here and the content. But what about the minutes? So let's have a look at the minutes. So now we have our minutes report. But again, we still only have the agenda content. So now we'd like to add content to the meeting. Now, if you think about any meeting, the content of a meeting is really only made up of a few things. In a meeting, somebody might make a presentation or provide some information to the group, and we call this add information. Then someone might make a statement, some kind of explanation of a position of, say, one of the third-party suppliers. They think this, and this is what their position is. So you could add a statement. A decision, the group or an individual or by a vote has decided they've made a decision on some topic, and then we've created some actions which need to be completed. And there's a funny one called action update. So an action update is we already have an existing action that we're tracking. We've discussed this pre-existing action that existed before the meeting. We've discussed it in the meeting now, and we'd just like to add an update to saying what we discussed about that action. We call that an action update. And that encompasses all the sort of information that you might capture in a meeting. So let's go ahead and try and use some of these objects. So we've got our 4 agendas, and let's say under agenda 2 I'm going to create an information object. So it's a simple bucket. It has 3 pieces of information we would like you to supply. First of all, it's just a summary topic, okay, just a title for what the information is about, and we might say it's on shipping process. And now we'd like to say who provided the information. So let's see who was at the meeting. We have Angela Merkel. So let's say Angela provided that. And now we'd like to show what information she actually supplied. Now I've just copied some text off the internet just to show what is possible. So this is just about an article of shipping, about the ship crashing in the Panama Canal, the new widened canal. So now we've got this sort of bucket, and you can see that this space is like a Word document. It will just grow as per the requirements. There's no limitation. You can make it as big as you want, and it will wrap around pages. And you can do a lot with the text in this bucket, so this is information. So let's go up to formatting tools, and let's say we want to make it bold, we want to make it bigger, and let's say we want to make it a dot point, make it numbers, we can indent it, and we can get rid of all of that. And we just put it back to normal. Okay, we can center the text, we can right format it, justify it, strike it through, we can change the color, and let's say we're going to change the color, strike it through, and we're going to make it center formatting. Okay, now, not that anyone would ever want to create a document that looked like this, merely to show the point that, like a Word document, you have a lot of flexibility. If we come back and we go, okay, now we've got this information item, we've still got our old agendas, so if we come here we can see agenda. You can see our meeting minutes with the agenda. Let's have a look, however, at the actual meeting minutes with this content. And here we are, we can see we have the shipping, we have all this information that I've copied in. We have our shipping process, Angela Merkel, and then we have this rich text coming all the way down the page. So now you can imagine that we allow rich text within the software, so within the information items, but obviously we don't want that. Now, that's information and we've supplied. Similarly for statement, we can add a statement, we can give the summary, shipping to improve trade. And again you can provide information, and again you can provide who is responsible. So now I've kind of shown you that statements are the same. Now decision's a little more tricky. Let's add a decision. Why is decision interesting? Because decisions can be either taken by an individual, majority vote, or consensus. Let's say in this case it's an individual, it's Barack Obama, and he rejects the decision. So we're going to say not to widen the canal further. Or we can make majority vote and we say passed. And we will widen the canal further. Now lastly, well not lastly, but nearly lastly, we'll add an action. And an action's got a little bit more information. Again, a topic. So let's go and say widen the canal. And we're going to put some details on it. Engineering. Imagine they're there, and responsible is going to be, say, Barack, working with whichever authority, and the owner could be presentation administrator. Let's say Angela Merkel, just for argument's sake. And we're going to say, when would you like that to be done by? We'll say, well, that's going to take a few years, so if you want, you can just click out. We'll say 2018, and we'll say June, and we'll say 30th. And we'll say it's a crucial task. And let's say we want to put it in a different location. We just can come through and we're going to put it under the project office, and we'll put it under planning. And there is an action. Saved. And now lastly, we will do an action update. So just come into the action update. If you know the title of the action, you can type it in here, or you can hit search. It'll return all the actions in the system. Let's say we're going to put it under budget reform, and that will bring in the action that we mentioned earlier, which was pre-existing for discussion. And here it is, and we can place a comment. Again, you can make this rich text if you want, or just simple text. I tend to use simple text just because the formatting is rather complete. Now, so now if we go back and we have a look at our minutes, we can see that we have interesting summary at the top. So new actions, updated actions, decision, and then under here we have the actual full content. So we have 4 agenda items, so you can see here's agenda 1, agenda 2, agenda 3 and agenda 4, and under agenda 2, as we've done in the system over here, which you can see on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, under the meeting minutes you'll see the same thing, and you'll see first of all the information item provided by Angela Merkel, then the decision, then Mr. Barack Obama's statement, Mr. Bill Clinton's statement, well, action, and then the update to an action, again by Mr. Barack Obama. Now, lastly, what if you want to move actions? What if you want to move information items? What if you don't like the order? Well, just pick it up and drag it. Simple as that. Let's say all of this should be under Agenda 1. So you can see me grabbing on the left here. It's going to pick it up and move it. And now when we go back and look at my minutes, it's all been moved under Agenda 1. Similarly, I can do it just here as well. I can just pick it up and drag it to Agenda 2. It's just that simple. We also provide the option. Now let's focus on the action here. There's a system here where you can move things up and down. So instead of dragging it, you can select the buttons and just click move down. So watch the action items now move to 2.2, 2.3, 2.4, 2.5. If you keep going, it'll move it down to the next agenda. So now it's 3.1 or 3.4. Now lastly, I want to introduce a more of an advanced concept, and that is about children. So let's back here, we made the decision. I'm just going to put the action back under here, move it back down. So we made the decision to widen the canal, and then we have the action to widen the canal. So you could actually say that the decision, I'm just going to put some text in here, you can say the action is almost a child of the decision. Is that in the decision first, and then the action is definitely coming from that decision. So let's say we want to make it a child. So we use a second level in the meeting, at which point we could say level down. And it will level down underneath the object above. Just level that up. Similarly, you could drag it on top of and put it there, and it'll pop under. Now when you look at it, you can see it's become a child of the decision. And if you look at the meeting minutes, you will see that again that is now a child of the action of the decision above. That's more of an advanced feature. You do not need to use it. It's not at all imperative. It's just a feature. If you'd like to use it, it's available to you. And I can just level it up and leave it in sequence, and it will just sit there after the decision. Now that gives you a sort of an overview as to how to create your minutes and how to produce high quality professional looking minutes very, very quickly without much formatting required, with all the content you'd expect in high quality meeting minutes. So I thank you for your attention, and I look forward to bringing you more videos on how to leverage the power of IEther React.